Kim Kardashian has pulled off some wild storylines in the past, but nothing has sparked more confusion, speculation, and outright debate than her sudden decision to broadcast her low brain activity to the world. One minute she's filming a routine scene for her show, and the next, the internet is convinced she's either teaming up with Elon Musk or launching a brain-boosting product that'll make millions overnight. And honestly, with the way she builds her image, neither possibility sounds too far-fetched. Because here's the thing, Kim doesn't reveal anything unless there's a bigger plan behind it. Her show isn't reality. It's a carefully stitched narrative designed to shape public opinion. So when she sat there listening to a doctor explain that parts of her brain weren't firing the way they should, people didn't just react. They analyzed it. They dissected it. They turned it into a full-blown theory about the next phase of her empire. Why did she highlight that moment? Why did the episode frame it like a crisis? Why now, right when she's gearing up for another attempt at the bar exam? The timing is too perfect, the reactions too dramatic, and the internet too convinced that something else is brewing behind the scenes. And once you start digging into the details, the whole thing looks a lot less like a vulnerability, and a lot more like the setup to a massive calculated move. And this is only the beginning, because the theories that followed took on a life of their own. The moment Kim Kardashian sat down for that brain scan, it felt suspiciously polished for something that was supposed to be raw and personal. The show didn't treat it like a quiet medical checkup. It framed it like a turning point. Dramatic music, close-ups, the doctor explaining that parts of her brain were showing low activity, and Kim staring back in shock as if she had just been handed life-changing news. It was emotional, sure, but also incredibly convenient. Because this wasn't happening during a slow point in her life. This was placed right before her next attempt at the bar exam, right as the season needed a new storyline, and right when online conversations about Neuralink and brain-enhancing products started taking off. It almost felt too perfectly aligned, like the producers wanted the audience to walk away asking questions instead of feeling sympathy. And that's exactly what happened. Within hours, social media exploded. People joked about finally having medical proof. Others speculated that the whole thing was staged, and some went straight into conspiracy mode, asking whether the low-activity reveal was part of a bigger marketing strategy. Normally, a medical moment on a reality show fades quickly, but this one didn't. It spread. It stuck. It became the center of a much larger conversation. What made it even more suspicious was how calmly Kim handled the news. She didn't panic the way most people would. She went straight into business mode. "I've got to fix this. I have things I need to do this summer." It sounded less like fear and more like setup dialogue, as if we were watching the introduction to a storyline that would conveniently lead into a product, a partnership, or a brand new narrative arc. And that's where things started getting interesting. Because the internet didn't just react. It built an entire theory explaining exactly what this moment was leading to. Once the clip of Kim's brain scan hit the internet, the reaction went way beyond jokes. People didn't just laugh at the low activity comment. They started stitching together patterns, motives, and connections that turned one moment on her show into a full-blown theory. And almost instantly, the word Neuralink started appearing in every comment section. It began with a single tweet. Is Kim laying the groundwork for a Neuralink deal? What was supposed to be a sarcastic post suddenly became the center of an entire conversation. Fans pointed out the timeline. Kim fails the bar, Kim cries on camera, Kim reveals a brain issue, and then, just maybe, Kim gets a Neuralink implant and miraculously passes the next attempt. The theory spread so fast that people were calling it the most logical explanation they'd heard all year. And again, these weren't claims, just speculation. But the internet loves a puzzle, especially when the Kardashians are involved. Some users joked that a Neuralink would be like having Google built into your skull. Others suggested that if Kim suddenly aced the bar exam after years of struggling, she could turn around and publicly praise the technology, giving it instant credibility. That idea alone was enough to ignite a wave of discussion. What made the theory feel even more believable to some people was Elon Musk's reputation for leveraging celebrity influence when launching new tech. The man understands marketing, and whether people love Kim or can't stand her, her endorsement moves culture. So the idea of her becoming the face of a controversial brain implant didn't sound impossible to the internet, it sounded strategic. Of course, nobody actually knows if Kim would ever go that far, but the intense reaction showed one thing clearly. Viewers didn't think the brain scan scene was random. They believed it was planted for a reason. And that reason, according to thousands of comments, might involve the most futuristic and unsettling technology Musk has ever pushed. And if that wasn't enough to fuel the flames, the internet started digging into Kim's past behavior, looking for anything that might support the theory. What they found took the conversation from interesting idea to, wait, this actually lines up. And that's where things got even more complicated. If there's one thing Kim Kardashian understands better than most celebrities, it's how to turn a perceived weakness into a powerful storyline. She doesn't hide her flaws, she broadcasts them, repackages them, and turns them into stepping stones for her next big move. And that's exactly why so many people side-eyed the brain scan scene. It didn't feel like a private medical moment. It felt like the beginning of a strategy she's used for years. Think about it. Every time Kim has publicly stumbled, she has come back stronger, and conveniently with a new project in hand. When people mocked her for crying, she built a brand around not caring what anyone thinks. When people questioned her work ethic, she filmed herself studying until sunrise. When critics doubted her business skills, she launched companies that made her a billionaire. Even her bar exam struggle, something most people would keep quiet, became a multi-season arc designed to paint her as the underdog fighting to prove herself. So when the show highlighted her low brain activity, viewers who followed her patterns didn't see vulnerability. They saw preparation. Because for Kim, weakness has always been the setup, not the story. It's the spark that leads directly into a rebrand, a partnership, or a product launch. She knows that when people feel pity or concern, they pay closer attention. And when they pay attention, she can shape the narrative exactly the way she wants. And this is why the internet didn't just shrug off the doctor's comments. They connected it to the formula she's used for years. Reveal a flaw, amplify it, overcome it, monetize it. It's a pattern that's worked in beauty, shapewear, fashion, law school, and now, according to online speculation, it might be extending into the world of cognitive health and futuristic tech. Because if the brain scan wasn't the real story, people started asking what comes next. And that's where the supplement theory comes in. A theory that took everything to a different level. While the Neuralink idea kept gaining traction online, another theory started rising right alongside it. One that felt a lot more realistic to people who understand how the Kardashian empire works. Because if Kim isn't gearing up for a brain implant partnership, some fans believe she might be preparing for something much more profitable, a cognitive supplement line. This rumor didn't come out of nowhere. For months, blind items have been circulating about a major reality star sitting on a brain-boosting supplement formula, waiting for the right moment to introduce it. And when Kim's low brain activity scene aired, the timing felt a little too perfect for some viewers. Suddenly, her diagnosis looked less like concern and more like a setup. People pointed out that Kim has a habit of emotionally preparing the audience before she sells them a solution. Struggle first, product second. And showing the world that her brain wasn't performing the way it should. That's the kind of problem a supplement storyline could magically fix by the end of a season. The Kardashians have done this exact narrative arc dozens of times. Skin issues, followed by skincare launches, fitness journeys followed by shapewear drops, stress storylines conveniently leading into wellness partnerships. So when blind items started hinting that Kim has a memory or focus supplement ready to go, viewers connected the dots. And it didn't help that Kourtney already runs a wellness brand centered around vitamins, powders, and clean living. To some fans, Kim jumping into cognitive supplements either alongside Kourtney or in direct competition with her felt entirely possible. especially with the sisters' ongoing rivalry woven into the show every season. What made the theory even stronger was the emotional tone of Kim's reaction. She didn't just hear the doctor's assessment, she leaned into it. She emphasized the stress she's under, the hours she's been studying, the pressure to pass the bar. It all felt like build-up, almost like a scripted motivation for why she'd want to create something to help others going through the same thing. Again, nothing is confirmed. It's all speculation, all rumor. But the theory resonates because it follows the Kardashian playbook perfectly. Introduce a problem, show the struggle, offer a solution, and then market it as a breakthrough. And just when viewers thought they'd narrowed it down to supplements or Neuralink, something else shifted the conversation again. The part that connects Kim directly to Elon Musk himself. The deeper people dug into the theory, the more one detail kept resurfacing. Kim Kardashian's surprisingly long, surprisingly consistent connection to Elon Musk. And what's strange isn't just that they know each other, it's the way Kim supports his companies with a level of enthusiasm that feels more like promotion than friendship. For years, Kim has been showing off Tesla products in ways that look suspiciously like unpaid ads. She's posed with multiple Tesla cars, flaunted her Cybertruck like it was a designer handbag, and even filmed flirty, borderline comedic scenes with a Tesla humanoid robot. Most celebrities only post that kind of content after signing a contract. Kim posted it for free, or at least without any public acknowledgement of sponsorship. What grabbed people's attention even more was the timing of her support. When Elon went through waves of backlash for political drama and controversial decisions, Hollywood distanced itself. Actors unfollowed him, influencers avoided mentioning him, and brands quietly paused partnerships. But Kim? She did the opposite. While everyone else stepped back, she leaned in, posting selfies with Tesla robots, showing off her truck again, and publicly associating herself with the brand right in the middle of the backlash. That's when online speculation took off. Some people believe Kim's enthusiasm isn't random, suggesting she might be nurturing a long-term connection with Elon for a future partnership. Others have spread rumors, unverified of course, that Elon has admired Kim for years and considers her one of the few public figures with enough influence to shift public perception. Whether those claims are true or not, one thing isn't up for debate. Kim has consistently given Tesla visibility most companies would pay millions for, and she's done it during moments when celebrities usually step away. That alone made the Neuralink theory feel a little less outlandish to the internet. Because if Kim already promotes his robots, if she already drives his cars, if she already defends his brand when no one else will, then how far does that relationship really go? And that question only grows more complicated when you look at how her show has been building storylines lately, because the brain scan wasn't just a shock moment. It was the beginning of a pattern viewers recognize all too well. Anyone who has watched The Kardashians for more than one season knows the truth. Nothing on that show is random. Every emotional scene, every conflict, every unexpected crisis is placed with precision. The family doesn't just tell stories, they build arcs. And when Kim's brain scan aired, it didn't feel like a one-off moment. It felt like the first chapter of something bigger. The episode treated her diagnosis like the start of a new personal mission. The close-ups, the shaky breathing, the long pauses, it all played like a storyline crafted to plant a seed in viewers' minds. And that's exactly why so many people believe it's leading somewhere. The Kardashians rarely show a problem without selling a solution by the season finale. This pattern is basically tradition at this point. A few seasons ago, Kim opened up about medical issues. Suddenly, she had a full-blown wellness journey. Kendall's anxiety, followed by brand partnerships. Kourtney's lifestyle overhaul. Now she runs a multi-million-dollar health company. Each storyline matches neatly with a business move, and the show frames it like fate instead of strategy. So when Kim sat there hearing that her brain wasn't firing at full power, fans didn't just feel worried. They felt a setup coming. She talked about stress. She talked about pressure. She talked about needing answers. Every line sounded like a doorway to a product, a partnership, or a reveal that the season hasn't reached yet. What really convinced viewers something was being staged was how the moment was integrated into the narrative. The producers didn't treat it as a private struggle. They made sure the doctor's comments echoed through the entire episode. They repeated the words low activity, highlighted Kim's fear of falling behind, and closed the scene with her saying she needed to fix this. It was subtle, but intentional. And when you stack that against the conversations happening online about Neuralink, supplements, and the Musk connection, it suddenly feels less like coincidence and more like careful foreshadowing. The kind of foreshadowing this family uses every time they're prepping the next chapter of their empire. But the moment people started connecting Kim's storyline with Musk's long-term goals, the theories took a darker turn, one that centers not just on her business strategy, but on Elon's bigger vision for the future. Elon Musk might be known for rockets, electric cars, and pushing boundaries no one asked for, but his most controversial project by far is Neuralink. And the public reaction to it has been loud, skeptical, and sometimes downright terrified. Every time Neuralink makes headlines, the comments are filled with people saying they'd never let a chip near their brain, or that the idea feels dystopian. Musk isn't just dealing with criticism, he's dealing with a cultural wall. And that's where the internet's theory suddenly shifts from wild speculation to something that almost makes sense. Because if Musk needed someone to soften the image of Neuralink, someone who could turn fear into curiosity, Kim Kardashian fits that role disturbingly well. Whether people love her or can't stand her, she controls trends. She changes public opinion. She takes something weird and turns it into a billion-dollar industry. She's done it with beauty standards, shapewear, influencer marketing, and even reality TV itself. So when rumors began circulating online that Kim might become the face of Neuralink, fans didn't laugh it off. They paused. Because historically, Elon has relied on public figures to normalize his ideas. When Tesla was viewed as a risky project, celebrities showing off their cars helped turn it into a status symbol. When SpaceX needed attention, he aligned himself with pop culture moments and high-profile events. The man understands influence, and Kim, she is influence. Add in the fact that she's shown unwavering support for his products, even during periods when other celebrities ran in the opposite direction, and the theory only grew stronger. People speculated that if Elon wanted Neuralink to feel safe, relatable, even aspirational, teaming up with one of the most recognizable women on the planet would be a strategic master move. But there's another layer, Kim's own narrative. She's been building a years-long storyline about her journey to become a lawyer. She's shown the struggle, the studying, the failures, the pressure. If she suddenly found the solution to her cognitive problems through a device or supplement, whether Neuralink or something connected to it, viewers would treat it like a triumph, not a controversy. That's why people started saying the quiet part out loud. If Musk wanted to shift public opinion, Kim is the perfect vessel. And if Kim wanted to launch her next empire move, Musk's most ambitious project gives her a storyline no one else has touched. It's a mutual benefit, at least in theory. But once you start connecting both of their motives, the speculation becomes less about business and more about something even bigger: how celebrity influence can shape the future of technology, health, and public trust. When you step back and look at the bigger picture, it's not just about Kim Kardashian, Elon Musk, or even a brain scan on reality TV. It's about influence, storytelling, and how powerful narratives shape public perception. Whether it's Neuralink, a brain-boosting supplement, or some combination of both, the strategy is the same. Introduce a problem, show struggle, offer a solution, and make it aspirational. And no one does that better than the Kardashians. Kim's low brain activity reveal wasn't random. It was a story beat designed to create curiosity, spark conversation, and, potentially, prime the audience for the next big thing. And the internet ate it up. People debated, joked, speculated, and connected dots that may or may not even exist. But that's the point. By planting the seed, she can guide perception without ever having to make a formal announcement. The same is true for Elon Musk and Neuralink. He's asking the public to imagine a future where a device in your brain could enhance memory, restore movement, or let you control technology with a thought. That's a huge leap, and it's scary. But put Kim in the picture, and suddenly that leap doesn't feel as frightening. She's the familiar face, the celebrity people trust, or at least pay attention to, turning fear into intrigue, curiosity, and ultimately, normalization. And that's the genius of it. The Kardashians don't just sell products, they sell belief, aspiration, and participation. Whether the next step is a supplement, a tech partnership, or both, Kim has already set the stage. The public doesn't just consume her story, they become part of it, rooting for a solution she hints at even before it exists. The lesson here is clear. Celebrity influence isn't just about endorsements or brand deals. It's about shaping culture and preparing people to accept ideas they might otherwise reject. Neuralink or supplements, real or rumored, the method is the same. Build the story, spark curiosity, and let the audience follow the arc. And Kim? She's a master of the craft. So the next time a scene like this pops up on reality TV, don't just watch it for entertainment. Look at it closely. Notice the timing, the emotion, the narrative beats. Because in today's world, stories aren't just stories. They're tools of influence, and the Kardashians are experts at wielding them. And that brings us back to the question everyone is asking. What exactly is Kim setting up next? It's a mystery. But if history is any guide, the reveal will be perfectly timed, perfectly framed, and perfectly profitable.